Alright. Jesus Christ. It's been a while. I've been really sick for a long time. Let's give it a try today. I don't know if this is gonna work, but we'll give it a go. Now the issue is, I don't remember what the fuck we were doing. And I don't remember where we are or what's happening. I just know that I was looking at this apparently. So that's a little rough. So I guess we could go here. Click this. Kernels are invalid. And I have some notes here. Try reverting to set data for most structures. See if we can set data segments. Tie selection buffer to the level editor. Write selection if level editor is enabled. Don't use a fucking texture again, retard. Added new buffers for partition IDs for all buffer types. Need to be generated in C#. I almost need to go and look at my previous stream real quick. Whenever that was. It's ages ago. I don't even remember. 1 month ago. Holy fuck. Yeah, it was over a month ago. So what were we doing? Create selection, texture. What's it looking at? He's looking at Twitter. It's not working. What a dumbass. The tile sheet stuff. This is barely helping. Set tile selection buffer later. Size to size of all worlds. This is where we stopped. high selection buffer to, right? And then set that to 0 as well. This is also in start. Because I'm trying to bake it into the tile sheet. But the tile sheet doesn't have that kind of space. Look, because the tile sheet is here. Oh wait, it's the tile type. Oh. Okay, then we have to revert this. Anything that uses this. E.get tile sheet. This should... Yeah. Let's revert. We did that. This one. The compute tile selection buffer, right? And we take it, and then we put that in the level editor. And then we have I think I like kind of finished half. Probably not, but somewhat. So we're just gonna try to get back into it and figure out where we were. Set tile selection buffer size to size of all worlds. This isn't really doing anything yet. Tile selection buffer manager. And then we have editor world data. And here we have selected tiles, which is a bit array. So then that needs to be written to the tile selection buffer manager. So we need to go and look at the actual selection tool. What that's doing. The square selection tool. Add to tile segment list. Does that need to change? I'm not sure. Do tile selection. Execute editor tile selection action. Set selection bits. It's over here. We're setting the selection area, and we're setting the tiles. Update tile selection. Create selection texture. This is what we didn't want to do. Right. So, what's the idea? We instead just write to an array for a buffer. It's a bird. Because here we already have the bit allocation data. So we don't need to do the create selection texture at all. All we should need to do is just turn this off, like just comment this out, and it'll be good. And then in the shader, we just need to read. Selection texture. No. Selection. Selection size. Selection start. Selection end. Update tile selection does what? Nothing. It's gonna be in here. Here. Hello. How's the recovery going? I don't know. I'm feeling better this week than last week. So far. Now I'm just trying to get back, figure out what the hell I was doing, which is even harder. Update tile selection. I think that's what we should call that. Update tile selection. This is just update tile selection buffer. That doesn't exist. And then here, it needs a set data. Yeah, hopefully we get a couple of hours. I'm just thinking, should this just set everything? I think that would be okay. Compute tile. Compute the tile. Level editor dot compute tile selection buffer manager. So here we can say if no, let's just say if level editor, if enable level editor. Level editor dot compute tile selection buffer manager. So set data has managed buffer start index, compute buffer start index count. I don't know what the best thing to do here is. The array. We have a bit array. Let's see. Level editor dot world editor world data list. I dot selected tiles bit array. And what do we need to do with a bit array before we can set it to a buffer? I don't know if it needs anything. I doubt it takes a bit array, but let's see. Okay. Let's see, bit array dot selected tiles copy to int temp array equals new int, and that int is the size of world controller list. I dot map size dot x times map size dot y times map size dot z. Think. Copy to temp array index 0. And then here in set data, it should just need to be managed buffer start index. temp array. Then the start index is that's something we need to calculate for. I mean, I feel like this should be pre-calculated somewhere, but U is I. And then we need a int start index equals 0. And then here we say start index plus equals map size, like that. And then here we have managed buffer start index. That's the array that we have there. Compute buffer start index. That's start index. And then we need a count, which is this. Perhaps. And then it also needs some values, which are set here, selection area. This exists in editor world data. So let's see. C shader dot set damn. Because now I'm setting a selection size, right? And that's already an issue. Right? Because we can't just have like a start selection area. File data, object data, structure, partition data. World data count container. World size, area world size, tile data count, building, area count, room count. What if we just rename this one to world data container? And then here, we can then add like uint selection start, uint3 selection end. Because I want there to be a value like that so that we can check if we need to check for the selection at all. But that needs to exist for each world. Update world data count buffer. This currently needs some more things. Because here we have world size, area world size. Do I need that? Something like that. Perhaps. Size of. So this just got bigger. Let's just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. Size of viewing times 21. Perhaps. Perhaps something along those lines. And then this is gonna need I do think that translates. Anyway, I'll be right back. map size. Right? And then this is area. Light area map size. Next one. Not as easy. Ah, shit. I think it shouldn't be here. I'm just thinking, like, what should be tied to the level editor and how. Because the question here is, like, the selection should be tied to the level editor. So if I write a selection start and end into the compute world data container, then that's not tied to the level editor. Then that is tied to the way the system always works, and then that's going to be empty data if the level editor isn't enabled. And therefore I think it's stupid. So we shouldn't have that there. Instead, there should be like one buffer with level editor variables. But I think that's like only selection. That's it. But maybe that's like, maybe that's fine. It's just a lot of buffers. It's probably going to be a light stream today. We're just going to get back into it again. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, let's hide that then. Update world data count buffer. Then this is 21 minus 6. 15. Unless I had already put the world size somewhere. But I don't think so. And that's fine. It's fine to have it there. No, that's where it is. It is a little overwhelming. We have a lot of code. It's a lot of code to jump back into. Usually I can remember pretty well, like where we've been, what we were doing, where we were, but it feels like it's like burnt out of my head because I've had like a not exactly a fever, but kind of like a fever. It's like a fever in my head, except I don't have a measurable fever. It feels like it just like boiled everything that's happened out of my head. I don't barely remember what was going on. But I think we're getting back on track a bit. We were working on the selection system for the level editor. And we need to finish modularizing everything. There are still things that aren't modular in the sense that we have multiple worlds, or I should rename them to scene, I think, because it's so confusing to tell people. We always have to call them scene. Maybe we'll do that. A lot of work to rename everything now. But we'll do it as we come across things. So we don't want this here. We'll make a struct level editor data container. And then we put those there. I wonder if you can wrap like structs and buffers in an if, like if level editor. Or if I should even bother. I don't know if it matters. But where were we? I was in like world controller, update tile selection. It's called here. And then in here it says update tile selection. buffer for the scene controller list. And yeah, here. So how do you do this? We have a level editor data container. And then we need to create a buffer. Oh, changed it to scene. But yeah, then that's gonna be compute tile selection buffer manager. We're also gonna need a compute level editor data buffer manager. Let's see, level editor, tile selection. That is size of uint. Whereas this right now is this. We need to go here. Editor world data. World data. Bean data container. Here. So this is compute level editor data container. It contains a selection start and a selection end at the moment. This is a size of 6. And this is then compute level editor data container dot size of. I think you can still do that. I'm not sure. Then level editor compute level editor data buffer manager dot set data. We need like a little array here, right? You need to do like level editor data container array temp data array equals new compute. No, it doesn't need. Yeah, no. New compute level editor data container. And then it takes level editor dot world data list I dot selection area dot min vec3 and then a max vec3. And that's it. Then we set data, temp data array. Managed buffer start is 0. The compute buffer start index is that's actually a good question. Because what does the compute buffer start index mean? But I think that's going to be the stride. Like, if I set this to 0, then it starts at 0. If I set this to 1, does it start at a stride? Like 1 times stride and 2 times stride. See, compute buffer start index. Yeah. Okay. So that just needs to be an I then. But we need a count, apparently. So the count is 1? But the count is actually this. You know, it should be this. But that is 1. A length of 1. Oh. Why is coding so hard? Yeah, I've decided we do a very soft start today. I'm gonna stream for like 2 hours, and that's it. And then we focus on doing another stream that's a bit longer on Wednesday. And not try to do, like, push it right away. It's not gonna work out. I don't think we do need to do anything C shader. This is almost done, I think. We set this. Takes time to warm back up to a big code base. Yeah. And I don't think I'm really entirely recovered either, so. Unnecessary to push it and get worse again. But we have this, so then here we need to say scene controller list I dot update tile selection update tile selection buffer equals false. So the way this is supposed to work now is that we have a start and an end, a vector 3 start and an end that creates a cubical bounding box. And we'll see how I do it, because before I had very complicated selection where it like showed. I still have the code for it, so I might still be able to convert that into this. But we'll check if the current pixel exists within this bounds. And we can do that first, because we can just check if the orthographic projection just falls within that immediately, the first thing that happens. And if it does, then we check if we draw the selection instead of the pixel. And then we can just skip the entire draw step there. Maybe. But the way it was before was that it's a very complicated it's a very complicated function in the shader that checks for like which side of the tile are we currently on. But before it was more complicated because it had like edges and stuff, but it might be checking like neighbors, I don't know. And it might be like, yeah, okay, we're on the edge of this tile right now, and then we check, does it have a neighbor? If no, then we draw a corner there, or an edge. And then it also had the same thing, but for drawing like the back, so that you had a bit of a 3D sense, so that the back edges, when they were drawn with a darker shade. And I might try to get that to work again. We'll see. Level editor. Let's see, it should be... Check selection verticals. Check selection edge. Check selection. Yeah, here it's using a texture, which I've removed. But it's this that's kind of right. So it's really this that needs to change first. Selection sample, float 4. Input. What is the float 4 input? Check selection is never called right now. It used to be called here in CS main. The float 4 was point, tile position, X, Y, Z, Z normalized. Right. So that is pretty much what I need. So the input here takes, it's the tile XYZ. So get 1D convert 3D to 1D index. Yeah. Int 3. No. Int bit index equals input convert 3D to 1D index input dot xyz matrix size is current world index scene compute scene data container buffer world index dot area world size. So there we have a bit index. And with the bit index, we need to say compute data buffer data what was it called? Level editor data container. Compute level editor data. Okay, so we say level editor data container LE data equals compute level editor data. This is again world index dot, and that's it. Oh, we don't need that here. This is needed earlier, actually. You know what? I'll be right back. Yeah, we can't have a buffer inside of a buffer, so this needs to be accessed. Like, need a for loop. Oh my god. Just, oh yes, do the for loop snippet. Oh, it doesn't do it. Okay. Int I equals 0. I is less than... we're gonna just have to go with something here. 3. I plus plus. Actually, it should be I is less than world index. That's what it should be. So int buffer access index equals 0. Then we say buffer access index plus equals I area world size. Let's say uint 3 world size equals that. Buffer access index world size dot x times world size dot y times world size dot z. Like that. And it'll be really easy to access left and right from there. I think. I think we should just fetch all of the states instantly. But that's the buffer access. So then we say compute bool it's going to be an int buffer access index. If buffer access index greater than 0, then buffer access index divided by 8. No, divided by 32. And because what we're figuring out now is which bit or which tile we're trying to check. And each tile is represented by 1 bit. But the bit array is stored as integers. So we have to find which integer we want. And then access that. So we actually can't do this. So we have to say int bit index buffer access index. So this is where we start, right? That being 32 is okay. Yeah. I think that's fine. And then what we have to say is we have to say int index equals bit index divided by 32. And then we say int bit container equals compute level editor selection I don't think I've made a buffer for it. Structured buffer int compute level editor selection data. Hello Laksha, this is HLSL. Go down here again. Bit container compute level editor selection data. Int index buffer access index plus int index and then it's gonna be I'm gonna rename this to tile index. And then here we have a bit index equals tile index minus int index. And then we're gonna say bool selection state. equals bit container pointer bit index converted to an int. Let's see. You need to do this in a very stupid way in HLSL, but I don't really remember exactly. Let's just write something for now. It's gonna be like and 1 I think in this scenario this might work. It doesn't seem to want to work. Am I forgetting how this shit works? Like that. This might need to be converted to an int. This could already be a bool. Because I think this and 1 equals 0, then false, else true. And that's how I think it should be. And now here we're just doing parentheses. It has to have the parentheses though. Otherwise it doesn't work. I think. It's really weird. Like it doesn't work the way it works in C#. It kind of compiles it in some stupid way. Holy shit, what was I doing? Selection state, bool. And then here we'll say if selection state is false, then just return. It does check for a float 4 here, but Yeah. And then it needs to be tied into all of these testing clauses. So what we need to do here is add further checks. If selection state is true, just check all neighbors. Yeah, that's what we need to do. So then we need to create 4 more variables. Actually, I don't know if it needs corners. I think it probably doesn't, but no, it might. It does. It does need corners, actually. Most likely including corners, which is ass. But selections are shit. Like, selections are not performant. So I'm not sure. It's one of these things that this could be done once, but it complicates it, I think. Because then it would have to write it to some buffer or whatever, so I don't think we'll do that. It's so minor, and it's only for the level editor, so I'm not gonna do any bullshit. But checking all neighbors is kind of shit. And it's just because it needs to check diagonal neighbors, because if it's a concave corner, then the corner needs to be written in like the inner tile. Hail Grug! Programmer man doing better. We're gonna stop about here. I'm gonna go work on the writing a little bit. There's some stuff to edit now and look at. We're not gonna push it for first day back programming. We're just gonna do a little bit, get back into it, which I've done. And hopefully we're back. But I don't know. Might get sick again, but hopefully not. What's Grog up to today? I'm gonna write this down in case. You never know when this is the last day you are able to work for a while. Continue implementing selection in shader under check. Added world and area size to scene. This is called. Compute scene data container buffer. Made a data container buffer for level editor and a separate buffer for level editor selection data. Alright. We'll stop there for today. Short stream, but we're back to it a little bit. Hopefully we'll do another one Wednesday. We'll try to aim for 4 hours at least then. And I'll see you guys later. Until next time, thanks for hanging. Have a good day. Bye-bye.